Well, we have link-ups with Washington, New York, Mumbai and Delhi tonight. From Delhi, Aryaman Sundaram, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court. From New York, Ravi Batra, Senior Advocate in New York. I would like to say this about Ravi Batra, that he's coming back on the program. Last time, unfortunately, when he came on the program, we got into a heated exchange and there was a misunderstanding and he said, I'll never come back on your program. So I think it is gracious of him to come back on the program tonight. I say that on record. Ravi Batra, good to see you tonight. Because I know that on several issues you don't pull back your punches, and we like people who shoot from the hip. Now, Chidanand Rajgada, foreign editor of the Times of India, Sohail Seth from Mumbai, managing partner Counselage after a long time, KC Singh, former Secretary Ministry of External Affairs. Now, Ravi Batra, I don't mean to say this to just provoke you, but you know, it's too much. It's too much. The hate crimes against Sikhs in the United States. I remember last August, gunmen attacked devotees in a Sikh temple in Wisconsin. 7 people were killed and several others were injured. Now, it has to be a totally insensitive, uncaring society and country that allows the Sikh community to constantly be the target of such hate attacks again and again. And you cannot get away tonight, Ravi Batra, by saying this is an odd exception and, you know, you are looking at one incident in isolation.
Well, let me just say it's nice to be with you, and I appreciate our private conversation as well as the public one you just made. And you are a star among anchors, so it's fun to be with you. Now, as to the substance, you know, racism is alive and well, not only in the United States, it's alive and well every country on earth, because it is a disease that affects the human psyche. So, you know, just a few days ago, we had the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's March, and the dream is still not fully realized.
60th.
So that's the reality. It is also a reality that Sikhs, not just in the United States, but anywhere in the world, have earned a place of honor in society because of their bravery, their selfless courage to protect society and to shed their blood in the defense of others. So they are a noble creed and a noble religion. So that's, for the public, is an obvious fact. However, when we deal with something like 9/11, can you possibly imagine what Osama bin Laden has done to the American psyche?
Oh, please. You know, I know which line of argument you're going towards. That is no defense. Sohail wants to rebut you right away. I allow a rebut to Ravi Batra. I'll come back to you, but Sohail wants to come back. Sohail said.
Ravi, I love you and I love your Americanism, and I love the fact that you're the lawyer of every aggrieved Indian. But let me tell you, the Americans have acted like dolts. They've acted superficially, they've acted peripherally, and what's worse, as Arnab rightly said, an America which elected Barack Obama in order to thwart racism, and you were wrong, it wasn't the 50th, it was the 60th year of Martin Luther King. It is tragic that an American individual can't understand the difference between a Sikh and a terrorist. Not everyone who wears a beard is a terrorist. Not everyone who has long hair is a terrorist. By that logic, I would be a terrorist. Arnab would be slightly a terrorist. You know, the tragedy is racism always rears its head when least asked. It is what is beneath your surface when it comes out when you don't want it to. The tragedy is that America has shown itself to be a racist country time and again. And as Arnab said, Miss America 10 days ago, and now the Sikh gentleman. We have a country that pretends to be the democracy of the world, that pretends to be the free voice of the world. It's subjugated, it's racist, and it's damning. And Ravi, you are making a lot of money in America, but you would be proud and belong to India if you ever came back. And I love you, Ravi.
I thank you. I love you too. But you know, the taxes are really high.
Well, you know, the fact is, let's go into the facts.
Shut up! It's 33%.
Let's go into the facts, Chidanand Rajgata.
Wait.
They found a survey among the Sikh Coalition. Sikh Coalition survey, right? which says among the 1,300 Sikhs surveyed in the Bay Area, this is 2010, 28% had been called epithets like Bin Laden, terrorist, towelhead. Many of these people face physical abuse. Their properties have been vandalized. These are facts. These are not facts in isolation, Chidanand.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the United States is a work in progress. It's not a perfect society, as is India. Saying that there's racism and discrimination in the US alone is not true. It happens across the world. Both India and the United States are works in progress. And the US has its version of the Khap Panchayats. You have to understand that, the Taliban are in siege across the world. And I use Taliban in a very generic, metaphorical way because this is the white Taliban here. And we have, our saffron Taliban, and then there's the green Taliban and the red Taliban. Across the world, there are people who feel under siege. They feel threatened. Their jobs are threatened. Their livelihoods are threatened. Their children and wives are not listening to them. So they go and take it out, and discrimination.
No, that's no justification. No, there's no justification. There's no.
It's absolutely no justification. It's absolutely no justification. But here's another point, Arnab.
No, there is
a lot
callousness.
of these crimes are also being reported more actively now. For instance, the Sikhs are very active in the U.S. 20 years ago, many of these crimes wouldn't have been reported. Now they are being reported and they are being chronicled. Look, at the end of the day, this is a country which elected Barack Hussein Obama in the same way as, 7 years after 9/11, in the same way as India elected Manmohan Singh 20 years after the 1984 riots. I think we should look at the positive side of it. These are societies.
But Manmohan Singh was a mistake.
It's an enormously rapid place, and a lot of people feel very threatened by it.
No. You see.
I won't get into the politics of it.
On a very serious note, why we are concerned is because the kind of online hatred that Miss America, I think her name is Nina Davuluri, the way she received soon after
Dulavari, she's a very dear friend of mine.
Yes. So the kind of online hatred that Nina, Miss America, received after she was crowned Miss America, right? She was called an Arab. She was called a terrorist. You see, the fact is even your most celebrated public figures are not spared from such vile remarks.
Absolutely, and that's happening in India too. You don't
know. I'm talking about America, Chidanand. You always bring it back to India. Ravi Batra brings it back to India. Your only line of argument is that India is racist.
These are universal instincts. It's not India or America.
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. You have never seen a situation where any Miss India is questioned for for which part of India she's from, or a racist comment is made. I haven't heard of that. I've heard that in America. No.
We talk about how dark they are, how fat they are.
No. You don't make the kind of racist remarks which have happened in the case of Miss America. And you know that. And you also know that the way, while there have been a number of incidents of hate crimes against Sikhs being reported in the media, the full extent of the problem has not been acknowledged, because till recently the FBI treated all crimes against all Sikhs as anti-Muslim hate crimes. You've never even recognized that there is a community called Sikhs. Sikhs are being targeted.
That's not true.
No, come on. Let's get KC Singh into the debate as a Sikh and as a diplomat. I'd like to get his perspective. KC.
This is a work in progress.
No, America, work in progress. You have the worst kind of racism. Tomorrow the Ku Klux Klan will be out on the streets of New York, and Ravi Batra will say, work in progress. I'll come back to you. KC Singh.
No, it's not true.
KC Singh. KC Singh.
Not true.
Arnab, we are dealing with two different things. I think we mixed up two separate things. One is racism per se. It's acknowledged, it's there everywhere. And you must remember, there was an African student in a South Indian city who was very badly beaten up by our people. So there is racism everywhere. So it is not. That is acknowledged. But the problem is more complex. For the Sikhs, it is a more serious problem because of the symbols of their religion. They become identified. Firstly, they're easily identifiable as foreigners. And secondly, since it is not only since 9/11, 1979, when you had the Islamic Revolution, Khomeini's revolution in Iran, I remember I was posted to New York in 1980, just a year after that. And the community in Long Island used to tell me they had their tires slashed in Long Island because they identified them with Iranians, not with Osama bin Laden. average American is very ill-informed generally about things and certainly about other religions. And I think the
I'm sorry,
image
that's no
that they
excuse.
have, they tend
That's
to
American
create a
ignorance.
confusion in their mind.
American
And that
ignorance is the
complicates-
only excuse which
and
you are all
yes,
presenting?
It is absolute ignorance. Absolute. Now the third point is what needs to be done about it. Now after the Wisconsin Gurdwara attack, we had a debate. You had a debate, I came on it, etc.
I remember that.
No, it's not simply enough not enough to say, pass the blame to someone else and say, someone else should have done it. It's a collective effort. I think now that fortuitously Prime Minister is going there, either at his level or some other appropriate level, because when you're going at that level, you're getting access to the higher levels in US government. It should be mentioned. It should be taken up that this is a primary responsibility of the US government, because most of these Sikhs would be US citizens. And it is their responsibility to look after them and make sure they don't feel insecure.
But you see,
simply because of their religion or the symbols
first of all, first of all, you see, there are two arguments which are being put. One argument is, why are you complaining? India also is casteist, /racist, /sexist. To which I would say, look at the pictures I put on the screen tonight. I think these pictures are from the United Kingdom. Watch it.
We tied it. Yeah.
No, the pictures on air, I just want to explain to our viewers, KC. I'm showing some pictures right now. These are pictures from outside. I think they're in London.
No
they're about
act is excused.
3 weeks old.
No X is excused. Everyone must be addressed wherever in the world.
3 weeks old, and the Sikh gentleman who is just a bunch of drunk louts is attacking a Sikh gentleman. These are pictures that were put out on British television. I'm playing them here tonight.
That's right.
So I'm only asking, these are Indian citizens or citizens of Indian origin abroad are being targeted. We have a right to demand answers, don't we, Ariman Sundaram? We don't have a right to demand answers, or we will just hear the counter argument that you are also a racist, sexist, casteist country, so don't question.
Absolutely not.
Am I to answer your question or not?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I think let's just, I mean, it's all very well. We all are very upset and excited about it, but I think in all this we are missing the real fact that unfortunately, very unfortunately, call it by any name you want, racism, communalism, religious fundamentalism have all now become an absolute essence of every society in this world. And having become an essence because of other reasons, frustration, economic frustration, political frustration, whatever it may be. Now the fact is, and what we really should concentrate on, what a country does, what a nation does when it finds that such a problem is getting out of hand in its own country. The fact is that the average American is exceedingly ill-informed, believes that all people who look in a certain way must be of a certain persuasion, all owing their origin to Mr. Osama bin Laden. Unfortunately, this is a fact. My question is, what is the country doing to try to dissuade this impression of its people?
Nothing.
What is the country doing?
Nothing.
It's one thing to
nothing.
say,
Absolutely
I'll be the
nothing.
last one to say that America is racist. But are some Americans racist?
True.
Definitely yes.
You see,
but the question is, what is America doing to dispel or to see
doing
that
a lot.
such racist
doing nothing.
America's doing a lot.
are kept to a minimal in their country?
Doing
what
nothing.
are they doing to educate their people?
Two counters coming from Sohail and Ravi
America's
Batra.
doing
Let's
a
go to
lot.
Ravi Batra, then I'm coming to Sohail. You know, this whole argument, Ravi Batra, that there are a lot of ignorant or crazy people in every country who don't know the difference between Sikhs and Muslims. You know, I don't deny.
Let me just say this.
Watch it.
Oak Creek.
Ignorance does not justify criminal behavior, Ravi Batra. Ignorance does not justify criminal behavior.
Agreed. But as Ambassador K.C. Singh was saying, you know what, we should focus on the solution, and the solution is this. We need to remember Oak Creek, not only because there was a slaughter of people while worshiping, but because of a man called Lieutenant Brian Murphy, the hero of Oak Creek, who took 9 bullets. And when ambulances came and the folks came to help him, he says, no, take care of the worshipers. So that's America, okay? So a man who came to help took bullets.
You're giving an emotional argument to an objective
declined
question.
medical attention.
Emotional
to say,
argument
"Go
to an
Arnav,
objective
take
question."
care of the people in the temple.
No.
Arnav,
Okay.
No.
So this is an issue. Excuse me. This is an issue simply of education.
I love Ravi Batra. I love Ravi Batra for his constitutional stand towards the stars and the stripes. I love the fact that he stood in line for his green card and got it. But what I despise is what Ravi, my good friend, has ignored.
What?
The reality, Arnab, that you talked about. America, by and large, is a country of dolts. That's why they're successful.
Oh,
they
it's
don't
not true at
question
all.
the status
It's
quo.
not true.
In India, if you tell
It's
a guy,
not true.
stand in a line, Ravi, hear me out. Ravi, I heard you out like a gentleman.
Sure.
You must behave like George Bush and hear me out. Okay? So here's
I'll give
my
it to you.
response. And as Casey rightly said, there is a problem. The problem is of stereotyping. The problem is of thinking of the world in two colors, black and white. There's a lot of gray. The reality is, if America wants itself to be the great power of democracy, freedom, and this great thinking ideal, where on earth are they? I mean, as Arnab said, why do you stereotype? Why we had so many hate crimes? Why we had stereotyping after 9/11? Why did we have the legacy of Martin Luther King destroyed until it was remembered 2 months ago in America? The reality is America hasn't grown out of that problem. Is India at fault? Casey is right.
No.
We treat everyone from the Northeast as chinks. It is our flaw. It's our fault. But two wrongs don't make a right.
No, they don't. But
So Ravi, give up your Americanship and talk humanely for once.
Listen. After Oak Creek,
Even if you're a lawyer.
I organized a City Hall Steps rally in support of American Sikhs. I had members of Congress who came. I had senators who came, assembly people who came, city officials who came.
Doesn't help, Ravi Batra. Doesn't help.
And the last thing
doesn't
we did,
help.
And why the hell do you have that accent?
One second.
No, it doesn't help.
You're from Amritsar. You're a Punjabi like us.
On the steps of City Hall.
No, 1 second. All the good you
It's
are
all
doing
about
doesn't
education.
help. No, today it doesn't
Well,
help. I'll tell you why. Because earlier this month,
the battle between good and evil is perpetual.
No, 1 second. Because earlier this month, there was a study conducted by Stanford University, which revealed that more than 2/3 of Americans cannot identify Sikhs by their turbans. And you know what, Chidanand Rajgata? Nearly half of the Americans in that particular survey said that Sikhism is a sect of Islam.
Yeah, how many Indians, on visual evidence can distinguish between Americans and Britons, or Britons and Danes? I mean, I think that's a spurious argument. Look, the important thing to remember is both in the United States and in India, you have a mechanism for redressal. You have a justice system. Discrimination is not codified and constitutionalized in these countries. Anyone who thinks the United States and India officially sanctions discrimination ought to go and live in a country where you could be killed for not knowing the wife or name of the prophet's wife. The fact is these two countries are not perfect. There are a lot of imperfections, and the reason there is so much racism and discrimination is they get reported. In many parts of the world it doesn't even get reported. If you're of particular religion, you won't even get into a seat of power. Okay, India and the United States are two of the finest countries on earth. They are not perfect, but they afford a certain, grievance redressal mechanism.
I am not.
And the reason why so many Sikh crimes are being reported is because of greater activism, greater monitoring, and in fact greater redressal.
When there is
People
one community,
get prosecuted in this country for hate crimes. That doesn't happen in many parts of the world.
No, my only problem with that argument is when there is one community which has repeatedly, always been attacked.
There are many communities.
I know of the
As of today, I'm sure the Somalis will get it in the neck because of the incident in Nairobi.
Then what kind of a country is America?
All around.
What do you mean by saying
but to think that this is a sort of national trait and it happens all the time here is the same as saying in India is full of rapes and full of communal riots. Not true.
No, you're
not true on a scale.
One second. Then I don't want America.
When you ask yourself a question,
yes.
Will Manmohan Singh object to the US government about the misdemeanor and the behavior meted out to Sikhs? Ask yourself this pointed question and ask the panel that question, and my answer is no.
Well, that
we as a government are willing to crawl when we are asked to walk.
Aryaman Sundaram, my only limited point is that from 2001 to 2013, every year, again and again, Sikhs are targeted, killed, murdered, attacked, their properties vandalized. And I don't know, if I'm just saying, if today Israeli immigrants into America were to be attacked like this, repeatedly, with open racism, then would the question not which
This goes back to what I...
Yes, Aryaman gets the question. Aryaman.
3,000 Sikhs who were killed in New Delhi?
Can I just finish what I was saying?
Anyone wants to answer this question? How have we handled the murder of 3,000 Sikhs in New Delhi? You want to talk about hate crimes?
Yes.
You can each shout each other down, but
Aryaman Sundaram's turn, gentlemen.
May I just answer?
Can I say something, Arnab?
The point is, this goes all the way back to what I started with. I started with the statement that, unfortunately, this kind of, whether you call it fundamentalism or you call it communalism, call it racism, goes essentially in almost every country, and it does happen. However, the issue is exactly what you said. When there is one particular community, maybe due to ignorance, maybe due to misinformation, whatever it may be, if there's one particular community being targeted in a country, I think it's time for the country, for the government to wake up and say, look, it's important that we do a large-scale education to prevent this from happening.
I second.
And that, unfortunately, is not being done. It's much easier to brush it under the carpet.
I don't know why this question should be asked. In fact, I think KC Singh, common sense is that Manmohan Singh should raise it. Manmohan Singh, nobody should have to ask Manmohan Singh to raise it. Manmohan Singh should raise it.
He won't.
No, how do you know he won't?
He will not.
How do you know he won't, Sohail?
I will tell you, he wants to be more popular than Churchill's wife.
1 second. No, let's hear. Why wouldn't he? I mean, it's a natural expectation. KC Singh.
No, I don't know. We can't prejudge what he will or will not raise. What we can say is what he should do. Now, whether he raises it or he asks his officers to raise it at a particular level, certainly 3-4 things need to be done. One is that sensitizing Americans about this problem. Second is quick inquiry into it and apprehension of the culprits and meting out justice. This has been done in England. They have moved very rapidly against a hate crime, and therefore anywhere that this happens, the police must be proactive, and this is for the US government to do, and this is something which they must do.
Arnab.
And the third one is, he must meet the community leaders there and also tell them that they must integrate more with the local community, undertake actions, run charitable institutions, be more integrated.
I think the Sikh community has contributed greatly to the United States of America. And it is not for fault of the Sikh community not integrating that they are being assaulted. Everybody from taxi drivers to businessmen. And I remember there was this Sikh man.
To believe that a community has to.
The only person who can help you is Sant Chatwal.
To avoid being discriminated against.
Well, I think the onus is now on the Americans. We're going to follow this story. Ravi Batra, the onus is on you.
Well, here's my answer.
Ravi Batra, stop defending the Americans.
One second.
And start defending the Indians for a change.
1 second. Michelle Obama went to Oak Creek, okay? President Obama had Manmohan Singh as the first state visitor of his presidency, of his historic presidency to the United States. I and my wife were there. We saw the body language between President Obama and Prime Minister Singh. The kind of respect given to an Indian Sikh in the White House needs to be celebrated, and not America can't get beat up.
Ravi, you're a
as
lawyer.
country because
Ravi
somebody
Batra,
does
you're
wrong.
a lawyer. You know the
everybody
difference
can do
between
wrong.
realism
Anybody
and
can do wrong.
tokenism.
We can't be judged by that.
Well, I think
You can only
the
be
attacks
judged
against
by
the Sikhs have been
conscious
going on
behavior.
for far too long. Gentlemen, I'm not here to pass some kind of a generalization on America being racist.
discrimination,
But if
you should
Americans
ask the
think,
Jewish
but
community what it
if
feels like to be
Americans think, and any American thinks that they can turn the
Ravi, give up your American
point the finger
citizenship
back.
and come back to Punjab.
If they think they can point the finger back and say you're racist, you're casteist, you're sexist, that is no justification for what has happened today to that Columbia University professor.
Listen,
Thank you
we
very
take
much.
care of
Gentlemen,
this.
Ravi Batra, it's good to have you back. I look forward to our next debate.